Hello, and welcome to my channel. This is Anais. Quick overview. I'm an intuitive card reader. I very rarely use tarot in the traditional way. I do have a couple of tarot decks, and sometimes the tarot just kind of express their enthusiasm for wanting to work with sacred union and the frequency on which I am translating energy. So, intuitive reader, gender, non-specific, divine masculine, divine feminine. It's about energy. You figure out who you are and cross-watch, do whatever you need to do. And I hope that you'll find something in this message that resonates with you. I will share with you that the frequency and the vibration of the readings recently has been very high. So the cards that you see that I share with you comes from pre-shuffling, thorough shuffling, and the cards are reflecting the frequencies at which the energies of sacred union are currently. So in this reading, you'll see I'm using the traditional tarot, and the cards just, came out the way they came out, and I think it's a reflection of the general frequency and vibration of my channel, and also of the sacred union dynamics that are going on. I am going to do an extended reading, so that having been said, let's get into it. As far as my perspective, sacred union represents a trinity of energy: source energy, the divine feminine, and divine masculine. So this is a trinity, and it's all about co-creation, and it's all about mending what's possible to mend in us so that we achieve our own wholeness on our journey back to source. Source is where we came from, and source is where we will return if we are source sparked beings. So we're coming slowly out of retrograde Mercury, which some people are invested in. We're going into a new moon energy. We're already in it. That's happening tomorrow. Again, this is an alignment of thought that some people are invested in. So, having said all that, let's get into the reading. The first card out is the Hierophant, and this card is representative of a spiritual connection in this current union energy, and this spiritual connection for me does not align with any particular religious orthodoxy. It's just an energy of the divine masculine, higher self, his meta being, showing up in the reading. Next card we have Death. Death is the ending of a cycle. It is the completion energy. It is moving to what I call 0 point, moving back into a new perspective of what has just been learned or manifested or co-created, and taking that information and translating new incoming energies from source into more refined co-creations that reflect source wholeness. Next card out is Justice. This is very much a part of union energy right now. This card reflects balance, and it also reflects the third way. Many people are still, how should I say, they're still unconsciously invested in the system of separation that is the yin-yang story. And so this Justice card, even though it's a traditional tarot card, represents the third way. The energy holding the two scales, for me, represents the energy of Gaia and Source in alignment. And then we have divine masculine, divine feminine being held in balance by the third way. So this is a major arcana, as are the other two cards that have shown. And then we have one more major arcana out to align the beginning of this reading, and this is Judgment. So my feeling is that there has been a shift in the divine masculine energy that's been brought on by his higher self. It has involved the coming into the completion of a cycle. It is bringing him into more balance within the sacred union, and Judgment is going to be the moving energy that is going to move the union forward as the current energies of union are flowing towards the Lion's Gate. Okay, so next we have out the King of Pentacles. And this is an energy of stability. This is an energy of divine masculine energy that has made his commitments to himself, to his well-being, to his stability, and he is ready to share that stability as part of his contribution to co-creation. Next out, we have the High Priestess. The High Priestess is she who knows, and here again you can see that she's representing the third way, because she is sitting right in the center between duality, between the black and white binary code system of entropy, which does not allow any new energy into the co-creative cycles. So from my perspective, we are getting a pair here, a highly spiritual matching of divine masculine and divine feminine energy that are moving through the union. Next out, we have the Princess of Cups. This is equivalent to the Knight of Cups, and she is here bringing the energy of the flow. We have the King of Pentacles, who is bringing earth energy. We have the High Priestess that is balancing flow and structure here between these two energies, divine masculine and divine feminine. And as the energies are moving forward and balancing, we next have out the World card. And the World is now opening up to the sacred union counterparts, because they are continuing to do their work at a high enough frequency and vibration that it is starting to be embedded in their physical bodies, and it is being broadcast through them, and it is now beginning to subtly transform their environments. And they are merging timelines, so they do clear out interference that's not meant to be part of their union, and that isn't any serving any purpose other than keeping them in separation. After the World, we have another transition for the divine masculine, and now he has also moved into the King of Chalices, and so he is really allowing his full divine masculine energy to show up in his embodiment as a physical being. Next out, we have the King of Wands. This is more of the integration of the divine masculine in his fiery aspect, in his sacred sexuality coming to the fore, his willingness and ability to take action from a place of love and from a place of groundedness. So here you can see we have tremendous integration for the divine masculine energy right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the Emperor doesn't show up at some point, maybe in the extended, because this is where this divine masculine energy is heading. Next out, we have the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords represents many, many things, but it represents the kind of heartbreak that is the intention of the system of separation. And so when we're looking at this death cycle, and when we're looking at what information and energy the Hierophant is bringing into the reading, and what information the High Priestess is bringing into the Sacred Union energy, it is understanding that this heartbreak is by design. It is a design feature of the system of separation in which we've all been living for eons. And it's coming to an end. But it's taking time, because if it all collapses suddenly, we're going to have utter chaos, and human beings will not be prepared to deal with the consequences of that chaos. Okay, so next out we have the moon. And this is interesting because sometimes the moon, while it can be a source of illumination, it can also be a source of keeping things slightly hidden for maturation. It can also be a symbolic energy for new cycles of co-creation. Now, for those of you who are aligned with new moon energies, you might want to begin doing your intention setting. You could start today. Certainly you can carry that through tomorrow, right through the weekend, really, right through Friday. You have 2 days before and 2 days after, the peak of the energy being tomorrow. So take today perhaps to get really clear about what your intentions are for your sacred union. And remember, sacred union is about coming into union with, first with Source, then within yourself, and then within your sacred divine counterpart, and then the two of you coming together in physical union. That's what we're going through. So a lot of the purging that we're doing, the emotional purging, the clearing away, cultural condition, that's all about being able to come into union with Source first. And once we've come into union with Source, then we have a tremendous amount of energy to support us through the rest of our transformation and transitions, and the intense purging and continued activations that we're doing as new wave after wave after wave of Source energy is coming through to dissolve this paradigm, this binary code system of 3D, and bring all of that energy back home into neutral alignment with Source co-creation, and clear everything out that is not part of Source creation's divine blueprint. And we don't know what that is. We're all going to discover that together in time, on our own timelines, and it's going to be a highly individualized journey. And the sacred unions are going to also be highly individualized and really tailor-made to help each partner clear out all of the contaminated, distorted feminine, distorted masculine, distorted patterns of separation. All of that is being discreated, transformed, transmuted, so that we can all find ourselves back on our own pure original timelines, headed back to Source through a beautiful, blissful, and abundant journey of wholeness. So the moon is right now going to be part of that process. And for those who are aligned with the idea of setting intentions and following through with the new moon, so that they can feel that they've been a co-creator and have something to harvest when the full moon arrives, here is a reflection of that particular alignment. The last card out for this reading was the Two of Chalices. And here we have the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine really appreciating what each of them is bringing to the union, to fill their own cups and to fill each other's cups, and to share their cup of love with the divine, with creation, and with the human collective. So this is a pretty exciting reading. They have been lately. There have been, you know, less emotional roller coasters, at least in the readings that I'm seeing. And each partner, each sacred union counterpart is now, I think, becoming more and more conscious of the rinse repeat cycles that we're all going through, and how, for me, this reading reflects that many of us in sacred union understand that the purging is so much about releasing whatever will tempt us to come into separation or go into separation, and whatever will tempt us to project our own fantasies, our own distorted emotional patterns onto reality, to life, to sacred union, and even onto source. So the advice that came out, we have from source, we have awakening. So again, we are in the process of a deeper level of awakening. It continues. We awaken and we integrate and we rest. We go into contraction. That contraction helps us to squeeze out anything that is not part of our divine blueprint. We take a breath, we relax, and we expand into a new awakening. And this is a rinse-repeat process of sacred union. And then we have out Soul Song, and this is reflective of where the divine feminine is. As she is awakening, she is beginning to feel in her embodiment the soul song of the union she is in with source, the union she is in within herself, and the union she is coming into with her sacred counterpart. And then for the divine masculine, we have grounding. Can you imagine all of this energy coming in right now for the divine masculine as he's coming out of separation of many cycles of broken-hearted energy and disappointment, and he's been brought into a place where he's beginning to see the world from a new perspective, clear of his own projections. And he's coming into truth, transparency, and trust. He's beginning to see the world and himself without distorted perception. This is a lot to integrate. And so the advice for the divine masculine is to get grounded and to stay grounded. And divine masculines, if you're watching this and the only way that you have been able to ground yourself in the past is through sexual energy with a female or through physical energy on the earth, that can sometimes take the form of a really highly dynamic, highly engaged, highly muscle-using forms of work or sports. There are other ways to get grounded, and right now one of the best ways you can ground yourself is to begin to develop a grounded relationship with nature. Now, many of the divine masculines are already there. There are people who regularly find time to spend time out in nature, and they're not doing any competitive activities when they're out in nature. They're just being present to the glorious energies of Gaia's co-creation that are all around us all the time. So the grounding will help you remember that you are surrounded by love, and you are so deeply loved in this supported effort of bringing all of these aspects of yourself together in integration so that you can express them as a full embodied conscious co-creator who's going to be doing awesome mission work, whatever realm of work makes you happy. Okay, so that's for the divine masculine. All right, that's this reading. I am going to go into the extended reading. You'll find the link below. I'm also available for personal readings, and just email me and let me know. The information is in the description box. I do hope you'll take a look at our Meeting the Beloved episodes. There are those of us who have come together as a soul group. We began gathering many, many years ago, but we began really coming together in earnest in 2016. We have a lot to share about this process. Okay, thank you very much for visiting my channel. Lots of deep and abundant love to all of you, and wishing you peace and blessings on your sacred union journeys.